We've all spent hours in that blocky, pixelated world of Minecraft, right? A place where you can build literally anything you can imagine. But what if I told you that hiding underneath all those familiar blocks of dirt and stone, there's a whole layer of real-world science just waiting to be discovered? Well, that's where the chemistry update for Minecraft Education Edition comes in. It pretty much turns the game into, like the slide says, the most powerful chemistry set in the world. Suddenly, it's not just about crafting pickaxes and swords anymore, it's about exploring the actual fundamental building blocks of matter itself. And that's the big question, isn't it? We're about to go on a little journey to break down the entire Minecraft world to its very atoms. And then we're going to build it back up again in some pretty spectacular new ways. Okay, so first things first. Before we dive in, we need to get familiar with our lab equipment. The update gives us 4 brand new crafting stations, and these are the keys to unlocking all this amazing scientific potential. You know, the workflow is actually super simple but brilliant. First, you use the material reducer to break things down. Then the element constructor and compound creator let you build totally new substances from the ground up. And finally, the lab table, well, that's where you use your new creations to craft some seriously amazing new items. So let's get our hands dirty and start by taking things apart. Have you ever really stopped to wonder what's actually inside a simple block of dirt? Well, guess what? Now we can find out. This machine right here, the material reducer, is basically our super-powered scientific microscope. You can stick any block from the entire game world inside of it and see exactly which elements it's made from. Yeah, the process couldn't be simpler, but the results are, well, they're fascinating. Just by dropping a block in, you uncover this hidden layer of chemistry that's been running the whole game world this entire time. You get to see what that digital matter is really made of. And this is where it gets really interesting. Some of the results totally make sense, right? Dirt is full of oxygen and silicon, just like on Earth. But then you analyze something a little more exotic, like netherrack, and you find oxygen, carbon, and something else, something unknown. And this is just so cool. The game actually acknowledges that the Minecraft universe has its own unique physics and chemistry. It introduces these mystery elements that don't even exist on our periodic table. How awesome is that? All right, so we've taken things apart. Now for the really fun part. Let's build them back up. We're going to create our own matter, starting from the smallest particles you can even imagine, atoms. This station, the element constructor, lets you build any of the 118 elements from the real-world periodic table. You can even create hundreds of different isotopes just by changing the number of neutrons. You are literally building atoms from their most basic parts. And what's so great is how it makes atomic structure so easy to grasp. You want to make carbon? No problem. Just set the sliders to 6 protons, 6 electrons, and 6 neutrons. It takes a really complex concept and turns it into a simple, hands-on activity. Okay, so we've got our elements. What's the next step? Well, we combine them, of course. This is where the real chemistry starts to happen. The compound creator is kind of like a molecular crafting table. You add the right elements in the right amounts, like 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen right here, and poof, out pops a brand new compound. In this case, H2O. Yep, you just made water. And you can create all kinds of useful stuff this way. For example, if you combine 5 carbon atoms and 8 hydrogen atoms, you get latex. And trust me, you're going to want to remember that one for later. And here it is, the moment we've been waiting for. This is where all our hard work in the lab finally pays off. We've deconstructed, we've constructed. Now let's craft some things you absolutely cannot make in regular Minecraft. Hey, remember that latex we just made? Well, combine 6 of them with some helium, a color dye, and a lead, and you get a balloon. But this isn't just for decoration. Oh no, you can actually tie it to a sheep and just watch it float away. Or how about this one? By combining a few compounds, including polyethylene, which is basically a plastic, you can craft a glow stick. And when you shake it in the game, it actually glows. It's a perfect, playable demonstration of chemiluminescence, which is just a really fancy word for a chemical reaction that creates light. And this one might just be my favorite, because it shows how science can bend the rules of the game. Normally, TNT is useless in water, right? Well, if you combine it with the element sodium, you create underwater TNT, which, you guessed it, works perfectly fine beneath the waves. So, yeah, making mobs fly and exploding things underwater is incredibly fun. But the real power here, the real game changer, is what this all represents for learning and education.
This is what makes it so powerful. The game secretly encourages you to think like a scientist. You observe something, you break it down into its smallest possible parts, and you experiment. It teaches these huge fundamental principles, not by making you read them in a textbook, but by letting you actually experience the process of discovery for yourself.
And that's the thought I really want to leave you with. By embedding these complex subjects into a world that's all about curiosity and play, we unlock a completely new way to learn. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If learning science always felt this much like a game, what could we discover next?